Hello everybody, welcome back. This is JudiciousFire. I'm on the iOS server. I'm continuing my Hero Compendium series. This is a look at every hero in the game of Castle Clash in order of release date. We are using the Hero Compendium in chronological order to organize our hero overview here. This is part 3 in the series. This third video looks at the next dozen heroes. We are looking at heroes 25 through 36. Those heroes are in front of us. We left off last time with Siren, Destroyer, and Warlock. We'll now be continuing this third part in the series by beginning with Antar. As we move into these heroes, you're going to find that their skill ability, as well as the options available to these heroes, becomes far more complex. We are given many options when it comes to talents, insignias, and we're going to try to find a build that works for each one of these heroes and works most effectively for a team-oriented game like Castle Clash. Our heroes are to work with themselves and others. They are not all alone out there on the battlefield. They are together typically with 5 other heroes. So a hero that is effective by itself, but also effective in tandem with 5 others is really what we're trying to achieve. Also, as these heroes, as we go through each of the heroes today, you're going to see a variance from the last video, from video 2. Going to start to see that I am allocating the traits of dodge and accuracy in a slightly different way than I have in the prior videos. This is because our heroes are starting to gain a little bit more survivability, and or their ability depends on hitting the enemy. We'll get into specific examples as we move on. Number 1 for today. Let's take a look at Antar. Antar is an amazing hero. Antar is an essential hero in the game of Castle Clash. He is a hero that you need, and he is a hero that will help you throughout the entire game. He's the only hero that's going to allow all of your heroes to be revived from the dead. He also offers a huge damage reduction, 65% less damage for your entire team. It's very, very helpful. Now, in the game modes that you're using them towards the end of the game, it's really advanced dungeons, or maybe something to do with maybe a high-level Guild Wars attack. This is really what you're using Tree for at that point in the game. When it comes to the dungeons, you're going to have to give this man a revitalize. Instant skill activation is extremely important. If he is out in, let's say, a Guild Wars attack mode, I think a survival can be wonderful. It's going to give him the chance to heal and to stay alive through the whole battle. When I'm running him with a Revite for instant skill activation in something, say, the dungeons, stun can become an issue. It is now no longer an issue with the use of an Iron Will insignia. I also get a big statistical bonus by running him that way. If I am looking for a general use game mode or a long battle where it is not instant skill activation and then death for Tree, but actually surviving maybe the full 3 minutes, then survival is great. I can run it with the Revitalize if I need that. I can run it with a Sacred Light, more likely. Big attack bonus from the insignia itself, as well as all the statistical and attribute bonuses that come with the talent. Running Tree this way is going to keep him alive, yes. But I think more importantly, provide a reduction in damage for your team. I do not use Tree in an attack mode to revive my heroes, but more so to keep them from dying in the first place. I think that's far better. When it comes to the instant skill activation in an advanced dungeon mode, I am looking for the revive, and that's why this 2 combo pairing seems to work very, very well with Tree. With the equipment, Tree needs some damage reduction. Even though he is able to apply damage reduction with the skill, It is not enough for him. He needs more damage reduction. If there's healing worked into the scenario in some way, he's going to get 100% bonus in healing. But the 40% damage reduction makes it worthwhile just as that. As far as traits, nothing that Tree does relies on him being accurate or hitting the enemy. So it's got to be some dodge. Keep him away from being hit. Let's continue. We've got ourselves about a 50,000 damage threshold. We've got 1.1 million health. We have a very high dodge rate. Again, trying to keep this man alive so he can keep others alive. He is a utility hero. There are game modes in Castle Clash towards the latter stages where you really need a tree Antar. So I am definitely going to deem him as an essential hero in the game. Next, we have Harpy Queen. Oh, one note very quick. We introduced our first auto-proc hero in the last video, Warlock. And Warlock is a great auto-proc hero. Put him with Empower, sit him on the base. He's going to do a fantastic job. Tree Antar is also auto-proc. But if he is sitting on your base defending, with an Empower, he will not revive your heroes. All he will do is provide the damage reduction. The reason I don't have an Empower and why I'm not exploring the option of auto-proc is this. Giving damage reduction to my team in a base defense scenario in today's game, at the end stages of Castle Clash, it is no longer helpful. What will happen is this. It will extend the battle because my heroes are taking less damage. The battle will continue and will continue. Now, during that time, the enemy has already smashed my base to 100% destruction. Our bases are made of sand. Our heroes are made of steel. Using Tree, who does not attack, but only gives that damage reduction, is just going to force you to lose a little less quickly. So he is an ineffective auto-proc hero in that sense. Harpy Queen. Harpy Queen is an auto-proc hero, and she is effective in that capacity. She's going to knock down the attack speed, and movement speed of 4 enemies. She is going to do so with the use of an Empower without being directly under attack. So she could just sit there and defend your base all she wants to. She's a really great hero in that sense. As far as crests are concerned, the Insignias, a Wicked Armor is going to get her attack damage up a little bit. She has extremely low attack damage. But I think more appropriately, it's going to help her survive. Reflect damage, deflect damage in this game will kill her. In many ways, this Wicked Armor acts as an offensive Sacred Light. I also have the opportunity to put Sacred Light on her if I need to go more defensive. The Holy Conviction is going to give her damage reduction. If healing plays a part in this scenario through pet, through teammate, then she's going to get a big healing bonus, but the 40% reduction in damage more than justifies it. With the traits, the earlier heroes, heroes that had a very, very low survivability rate, even the snipers, for many of them I put just straight dodge. Now, one's sniping ability is dependent on one's accuracy, but a dead hero hits no one. Now that we're moving into video 3, some of these heroes do have a survivability rate and can be used to do damage or need to do damage in order for their skill to be effective. In order for Harpy Queen to slow all of those attack abilities of the enemy, she must hit them. Thereby, accuracy, to some extent, is essential. The rest should be dodge to keep her alive. She's coming in at about 49,000 damage, about 1.1 some million health. And you see, by running her this way, we have a fairly well-balanced distribution of accuracy and dodge. Dodge to keep her out of harm's way, the accuracy so she can actually hit the enemy and provide these reductions in their abilities. Harpy Queen has always been one of my favorite heroes. She is in that rare category, just like with Warlock. Harpy Queen is a fun hero during the first half of the game. By the second half of the game, you realize she's no longer effective against the heroes that you're fighting. Today's top premier maxed out heroes. If you are able to get her to max level, and I mean max level everything, she immediately takes on a whole new life, where you can actually use her in advanced game modes, especially defense-oriented game modes. Let's take HBM AJ, for example. One of the most difficult game modes in Castle Clash. I'm able to do it with a Harpy Queen. I'm able to do it with a Warlock. They'll go through all 5 stages. They'll make it to the end, and it'll be a win. It may not be at the highest speed, but it is going to be a nearly guaranteed win. So she is somebody who takes on a whole new life when outfitted properly and upgraded to her fullest capacity. Next, we have Skull Knight. Skull Knight does a lot of damage. He's got a built-in damage cap. He can only receive a certain amount of damage per strike. A problem is he becomes vulnerable for several seconds. During that time, he tends to die very, very quickly. Skull Knight is a hero that's no longer effective in today's game, especially in the latter half of Castle Clash. Now, if you have a starting account, Skull Knight can be one of your strongest heroes. In fact, it might blow your mind for me to say, hey, Skull Knight's no longer effective in today's game. Well, when you get to the latter stages of the game, you're going to find that Skull Knight enters the board, turns to dust, is revived by his natural revive, turns to dust. And that is the tale or the story of Skull Knight. Skull Knight is only used for fun in this game. There's really no other application in Castle Clash. And so we're going to try to have some fun with him. We're going to give him a Sunder. This is going to really max out his, through the use of a talent that has a health-related max damage capability. He is able to do some wicked damage into the 80, 100 million range. I'm also going to give him a survival. He lacks the healing capability of some of the heroes. Now he can heal with survival. If I'm running him in a general game mode use where I actually want him to battle and to be in the battle for several minutes, then I would run him with a survival. I can run a regen. I can run a revitalize if I want instant skill activation, but I've got to make his base talent, his base ability, something oriented towards staying alive. Now, with the Sunder, I can put a 9 Brawler's Favor on him, and he becomes a beast in the sense that I'm able to test talents with him. I'm able to test new enchantments. I'm able to see what I can do in max damage in terms of non-damage cap centaurs in specific dungeons. But most of the heroes in today's game have either a damage cap, most of the bosses have a limitation in terms of damage, or they have such great healing ability that Skull Knight's just not going to be able to take them out. Burning Plate. It's one of the few heroes, Paladin being another one, where I have Burning Plate. SK is very much like a Paladin in the sense that he just stands there whacking at you. Why not barbecue people while he's whacking at you? Now, there's one other real benefit to having Burning Plate. Skull Knight has a very interesting little factoid. His skill ability, the increase by 890% of his damage, is linked to his Burning Plate. He's one of the few, if only, heroes in Castle Clash that can do that. All of our heroes are linked to Burning Plate's damage capability by their base damage, but when Skull Knight gets his skill activating, that Burning Plate will be cooking people into the millions of damage. Please explore that option on Skull Knight if you haven't already. Traits. I'm giving him all attack for an increase in base attack. This will help tremendously with something like the Burning Plate, for example. He's coming in at about 56,000 damage. One of my highest damage dealers in terms of base damage. He's got about 1.2 million health. Decent accuracy. Some relative level of dodge. All augmentations were put into his base damage increase. Skull Knight's a fun hero to play around with, but when you're in the latter stages of the game, you won't be using him at all. Next, we have Dread Drake. Dread Drake is an auto-proc hero, and he is a very effective auto-proc hero. I have put Empower on him because it will give him the ability to auto-proc, but allow me to outfit him with things like an Unholy Pact to get his damage up tremendously. By running him this way, I get a 7,251 damage increase in addition to what Unholy Pact does in terms of its talent abilities. If I were running him the opposite way, I would be getting half that advantage. The Empower with a Unholy Pact. A Wicked Armor is not so necessary because he really does mitigate a lot of the damage, 90% of the damage he takes. So it's okay to be really pushing the damage as far as his auto-proc damage dealing capability. When I'm not doing that and he's not defending a base, I want to use him in a general game mode. I've got to give him a chance to negate damage. I've got to give him a chance to survive with a healing capability. During those times, I would probably be running a Wicked Armor that serves to boost attack, but also limit reflective damage to 7,000, sort of like an offensive Sacred Light. I could give him a Revive. I am not a big fan of Revive in this game. I truly only have perhaps 2 heroes in the entire game that have Revive. And that is because it's utterly essential in the last stages of the dungeons for these heroes to have Revive. Revive is a skill that only activates when your hero dies. Well, if I've built my hero correctly, my hero doesn't die. So I would have no talent whatsoever. Revive is dependent on death. I'm not building a hero that way. I want to make sure that my heroes live a long, healthy life, and where coming back from the dead serves no purpose at all. I feel the same way about life drain. I have no life drain on anybody. If my heroes have to drain life in order to survive, I've not built them correctly. If I can build my heroes where they don't have to drain life, when in fact they're draining the life of the enemy, in fact just killing the enemy, well, that would be ideal, best case scenario, thereby making life drain a moot point. I could also put him with something like a regen, which is going to really increase his healing capability. Let's take a look at him. In terms of equipment, I have him with a Victory Lunge. I'm not interested so much in the Reflect, but I am interested in getting his attack up. He is an attacker. He can do hero damage in this game, even against top heroes. He can do massive base damage. That is made more effective with the Victory Lunge. All base attack. If I'm going to use him, I want him to do damage. So I am giving him a huge base damage attack boost. It's one of my strongest heroes. Almost 55,000 base damage. 1.2 plus million health. No augmentation here, but still, those stats are pretty high once you've maxed them out. Dread Drake is a hero that is preferred in, let's say, the first half of the game. High survivability rate, good base damage, good hero attack damage. In the second part of the game, he's just a fun hero to play around with. There will be 15 heroes in any category you choose. There'll be 15 heroes ahead of Dredrick that you'll be choosing, and we can only use 6 at a time in most game modes. Okay, next we have Gulen. Gulen is a healer. He provides damage reduction to your team. Gulen, I'm running very similarly to somebody like Multanica. Because he has an innate healing capability, I can get away with running Sacred Light, but that is as offensive as I can possibly get. Okay, it's got to begin with a damage reducing and health increasing talent. By giving him the Sacred Light, I can run a regen, just like on Multanica. Huge increase in his healing capability, 130%. Also, 6836 added to his base damage. 52,900 extra health added to him when I run him this way. If I am not running him in this hybrid offensive mode, then I would be going strictly defensive. He does not have the survivability rate to make it through a full 3-minute battle against today's heroes. But with survival, a second heal, not just damage reduction from his skill, but full damage negation 40% of the time, he can make it through those long extended battles. With the survival, I could still be running the regen, but probably more likely with the survival, I would be running the Sacred Light, giving myself all the statistical and skill-related benefits, but also keeping the ability to heal and to max out the healing with Holy Conviction. It's going to up his damage reduction as well as double his healing capability. I have a blend of accuracy and dodge. I do this for 2 reasons. The dodge is going to help keep him alive. He is still an older hero. You got to keep him out of harm's way, even with his ability to heal and reduce damage. He can get one-shotted. Hit for more than his health pool allows him to hold. That'll kill him immediately. So dodge is going to help to mitigate that. He is also capable of some hero damage, but in order for that to be effective in any way, he's got to be able to hit the hero. So some level of accuracy is also very beneficial for him. Okay, about 49,000 damage. We're about 1.3 million health. See the big health gain, that big health boost that Gulen gets. And you can see a blend. I prefer the dodge because it keeps him alive. A dead Gulen does nothing. But if he is out there alive and doing well, based on these kinds of builds, then I need to give him some accuracy to be effective in any way in terms of damage dealing against the enemy. His heal and his damage reduction will never miss. Gulen, first half of the game, is a preferred hero. He will help you a great deal. He is going to help keep you alive. He's going to help to give your team. He probably is going to be your main healer first half of the game. Second half of the game, you are going to find that there are heroes that do what he does to a better degree, or 2 heroes that have a much higher damage threshold, survivability threshold, that are newer, have more complex skill descriptions, that are able to do everything he does, plus a whole slew of other things. Gulen, you'll retire pretty quickly once you start to get your other heroes maxed out. Okay, next we have Candy Cane. Candy Cane provides a dodge boost, a little bit of damage to the enemy, and she reduces their energy. Candy Cane is an auto-proc hero. If I gave her Empower and sat her on my base, she would do the following. She would activate her skill while not under direct attack. She would do a minimum amount of damage, negligible damage against today's endgame heroes. She's only going to do that to 4 heroes as well. She is going to reduce the energy of 4 heroes through auto proc, but our heroes today have fast energy recovery, are often able to avoid that kind of a debuff, if you will. And the dodge rate increase is only applied to half your team. That makes it a very ineffective auto-procking hero. That is why I've chosen not to explore that option in any way. Instead, I'm going to give her survival. I'll use her in general game modes, and I'll use her to have fun here and there in order to even get her going and survive for any length of time against premier heroes. You've got to give her the chance to heal and negate damage. I do that with survival. I can give her a Sacred Light. That Sacred Light is going to give her a big stat boost, as well as an HP boost, as well as a damage reduction. Nice pairing with the survival. Keep her alive. Speaking of, we're going to give her more damage reduction and the capability to receive double the healing. Now, she is not an innate healer, but if I'm using her, I'm probably going to be assigning her either through talent or through pet or through teammate the ability to heal. That will be made far more effective with the Holy Conviction. Now, if the Holy Conviction simply read reduces damage by 40%, that alone would justify the use of this talent or this enchantment on so many heroes. Holy Conviction offering an amazing benefit to heroes, especially older ones that have a survivability issue. Mostly dodge. The things that she actually does that have any use or utility, like the dodge increase that has some use, the energy reduction that has a slight use, they are not really dependent upon high accuracy level. She's going to give the dodge buff to everybody, even if she had 0 accuracy. The energy reduction in today's game, it's not something that you need to really worry about. I wouldn't push accuracy. I would push dodge and let her at least stay alive. She's got about 47,000 damage, about 1.25 million health, very, very high dodge rate. Candy Cane at no point in the game is a preferred hero. At no point in the game is an essential hero. She's just a fun hero. You've got the heroes that are fun. They serve no real application. You get your heroes that are preferred. They make certain game modes easier, more effective, get you through certain processes in this game in a much more successful manner. That's a preferred hero, an essential hero. You got to have this hero in order to get through the game of Castle Clash. She falls under only the let's have some fun with Candy Cane category. There was a time, I'll make this brief note and then move on. There was a time when a Revitalize was the only option really for Candy Cane. That was really when she was first introduced. That was when energy reduction was something that was helpful in the game, and you needed to do that right away. That was when upping the dodge rate of 3 allies actually made a difference. It no longer does. And that was when dealing 380% attack on her damage threshold actually did something. It no longer does. So instant skill activation is not something that is necessary any longer on Candy Cane. Arctica. Arctica freezes the bad guys and also debuffs them in a way. Takes away some of their healing effects. Has a built-in condemnation. All of these things help to make the enemy weaker. I'm running him very much like Moltanica. I can push his offensive capability. He's got some level of survival to him. But as far as I can push it is a Sacred Light. I've got to give him some kind of defensive ability before I can even worry about doing any kind of an attack. The build's got to start with something that's going to help to keep him alive. With the Sacred Light, I could run him with a Wicked Armor. Again, it's like a offensive Sacred Light. It's going to up his attack, but also limit the reflect damage that he takes to 7,000 per hit. That reflect damage can kill him instantly. That is no longer a problem with the Wicked Armor. If I want him to go through a much longer game mode, and I want him to make it through the full, let's say 3 minutes, I'd probably run him with a Survival. Give him the chance to heal. I can run him with a Sacred Light. I can run him with a Revite. I can run him with a variety of things, but probably Sacred Light is my go-to. When having such a low attribute bonus talent like Survival as my main, then basically anything that I choose, I'll get all the benefits of a level 9 skill, but also get big bonuses to attributes such as the 45, 51, and the 76 too. So it is very, very helpful to keep this man alive so he's able to do anything in today's game. Holy Conviction. Give him damage reduction. If he's happening to heal through some circumstance, that will help as well, but really I'm just after the damage reduction. I don't want this guy to get hit at all. Let's give him dodge. Better that he avoids damage altogether rather than upping his health pool simply so he can absorb more damage. About 50,000 damage, about 1.2 million health, a decent accuracy, but mostly dodge. I want to keep him alive. Arctica served very little use in the game throughout his entire time as a Castle Clash hero. There was perhaps one use for Arctica, and that was to immediately freeze the demons in the Lava Isle game modes. That was really about it. Today, we don't need that. Our heroes don't need to freeze any of those demons. Our heroes can cut through all of the demons on the board in 1 minute. Arctica is no longer serving any kind of a purpose in the game. He's just a fun hero to play around with. Running him this way, at least you get a chance to use him and to enjoy him as a hero. Next, we have Valentina. Valentina provides an energy boost, just like a Cupid. She also gives us an increased crit rate and an increased crit resistance rate. But it's really the energy gain that we are using her for. Because she is a person who gives energy to our team, just like Cupid, Revitalize is going to be an essential thing to put on her. We want her activating her skill immediately in something like the dungeons. If we are doing it that way, and Revitalize plays a key role, then also Stun will. Thereby, we are going to run Iron Will, just like on Cupid, just like on Ares. We are going to run Iron Will to prevent the stun. In order for her to deliver energy to your team, she has to be stun-free. By giving Iron Will as the insignia, we get all of the benefits of a level 9 talent, but a 75, 59, and 47-8 bonus. Big. If you are not running her in that way, and you want general game mode usage, give her the chance to heal. Give her a Sacred Light. No longer is instantaneous skill activation a factor because you're trying to get her to last for a long battle. Revitalize is used instantly and becomes completely ineffective once once those first few seconds have gone by. Got her with a holy conviction. Give her damage reduction. Nice bonus if she's able to be healed or provide healing to herself in some way or form. But really, I'm after the 40% damage reduction. Mostly dodge. There's nothing dependent upon her ability to give a skill activation where she has to hit anything. She's going to give that energy to your team regardless. She could have 0 accuracy, make no difference. But a dead Valentina buffs no one. So we're gonna give her the ability to dodge. 50,000 damage, 1.2 plus million health, decent accuracy, but a very high dodge rate. Valentina is a hero that really I've never used in this game. There are very few heroes that I can say that about. I've at least explored their options in some way, shape, or form. She is somebody that I've certainly experimented with to see what she does. I revisit her during big upgrades in the game. And let's call it seasonally. But every time, I'm always disappointed. Cupid delivers energy far more quickly. Also a big damage boost. What she does is minimal. And at this point in the game, when you're reaching those latter stages, latter half in the game, that much energy with energy capped heroes who have cooldowns, a Cupid and a Valentina at the same time is really unnecessary. And Val by herself just isn't going to get the job done. I would say that she is just a fun hero in the entire game. If you had a Cupid, I would go with Cupid far more quickly than I would go with a Valentina. Okay, next we have Phantom King. Phantom King is the scatter king in Castle Clash. He hits very, very fast and has a natural scatter built into each of those hits. His scatter by skill is able to stack or add to the scatter talent or insignia. Thereby, I have made scatter one of his primary foundational talents. It's going to scatter the heck out of the enemy. The scatter I would run, if I'm going to do that, and there's only really one purpose for scatter in this game, and that's boss 5. Okay, no other heroes that you're going to scatter. Scatter is a moot point in this game. Any kind of major boss or demon, scatter is, it would be better to stun them, okay, than it is to try to scatter them. So I really just run him in boss 5, and that scatter comes in very handy there because he's a fast hitter. And because I get a big, big attack boost running him this way, I'm going to give him a Sunder. It will give him that 77-17, but more importantly, it gives him 20% chance to get an extra hit. Pair that with his phenomenal attack speed, and you're going to be hitting. It's a great hero to use in damage cap modes. He is also an auto proc hero. Now, with Empower, he does not have to be under direct attack to activate his skill. And he is effective as an auto proc hero. He will reduce the energy of the enemy. He will continually hit them rapid fire, even in auto proc form. The damage that he does is very minimal. 190% of his attack. So really, you're just looking, if you're going to use him as an auto proc hero, you're just looking to lower energy, or maybe provide a rapid fire attack against the bad guys. I have him with a Pyre Mage. I'm using him in damage cap modes primarily. That's why the Sunder option. Through damage cap modes, Pyre Mage is going to provide an extra helper in combat and get those scores up. He's got low damage. If I gave him all attack, I would have an average damage dealing hero. He would go from poor to average. He's already got a built-in dodge, a phenomenal built-in dodge. More dodge is just going to make him, it will make him more slippery, but he's not going to be able to do anything in this game. He's got to have accuracy, especially a rapid fire hitter like him. The more he misses, the more ineffective he is. If you can get him to keep hitting, he will get those scores up. So the accuracy for him ends up being far more important than something like a dodge. If I didn't mention it with the Empower, I'd probably be running something like a Sacred Light Insignia. Let's take a look at his capabilities here. About almost 50,000 damage. About 1.5 million health. Accuracy of almost 8,000. Now, even without augmentation of dodge, he's already at 5265. So you can see that it's okay to be pushing the accuracy, especially with somebody who's as rapid fire a hitter as he is. Phantom King is a preferred hero in the first half of the game. The boss mode, especially boss 5, is going to be made a lot easier with Phantom King. In the second half of the game, he's just a fun hero. He still is every bit as effective against boss 5 in the second half of the game. But for most players, by the time you've reached that end game stage of the game, you're not after the 3,000 merits from boss 5. In fact, you're not running boss battle anymore. I'm running boss battle, and I do so religiously because I enjoy seeing how much damage I can do on the boss in a 3-minute time period. And Phantom King's a big part of that strategy. So a fun hero, but not really anybody that you need in this game. Let's move on to Beast Tamer. Beast Tamer is an utterly essential hero. You cannot be truly successful in the game mode of Archdemon without a Beast Tamer. You can get a score in Archdemon. You can do somewhat well for whatever your might level may be. But if you are somebody who's after a high score, a record score, to get in the top, I'm going to even say top just 200, top 300, you've got to have a Beast Tamer. You've got to have him functioning at his fullest capacity. No Beast Tamer, forget about it. So Beast Tamer is a guy who, just like Siren, is going to increase the damage that the enemy receives. That and a Sunder is going to give him the chance to max out damage on the Archdemon, hit those 500,000 damage per hits, get those 500,000 damage per hit, and get extra hit opportunities with the use of a Sunder. Just like with Siren, I'm going to pair him with a Brawler's Favor 9. Any of the Warden specific talents or favor talents, they're going to increase his damage, certainly. But the Warden has the Archdemon has no Warden affiliation. The Archdemon is Warden neutral. So all three are going to be equally ineffective at targeting a Warden specific enemy. So really, we're just going with the base damage multiplier and the base damage addition. Of the three favors talents, Brawler's Favor is leaps and bounds ahead of the other two. You just look at that 8,118 added to his base damage. He becomes a beast. I am with a Pyre Mage, just like Pumpkin Duke, just like Siren. For Archdemon, you need a helper in combat to get those scores up. All attack. Get his damage up so he can get to max damage capability against the Archdemon. About 53,000 damage. About 1.15 million health. No augmentation here of any kind. It all went into his damage dealing capability. This is the only way I would be running Beast Tamer. I only use him in Archdemon. But Archdemon is going to be made very difficult and high scores made impossible without the use of a Beast Tamer. So absolutely essential in the latter stages of the game. We are going to move on, and we're going to move on to our friend Lady Leo. Lady Leo is a hero that does a little bit of damage. She has the chance to stun. Many heroes are immune to stun, so let's just say she does a little bit of damage. She has no skin. She has only one talent opportunity. Only way I'm going to effectively use Lady Leo in the final steps of this game is by giving her the ability to survive. She's got to be able to heal. She's got to be able to negate damage outright. Not even dodging away from damage is going to save her. She's got to flat out negate all the auto procs that come our way, all of the horrific crit hits that are being dropped on the heads of heroes these days. She's got to be able to do that and heal. I run it with a Sacred Light, give her more health, give her more damage reduction, as well as a big statistical bonus by running it this way. Holy Conviction, give her more damage reduction. That's what I'm after, the 40% damage reduction. Got to keep her alive. She's an older hero. Dodge. You can make the point that accuracy is important, but a dead Lady Leo hits no one with that spear. We're allocating, just like in the same way we did with Pixie. You can make the argument that Pixie benefits from accuracy, but in today's game, she's dead. Okay, dead Pixie is not going to hit anybody. So you got to give her dodge and keep her out of harm's way. It's the same way with Lady Leo. Only way you're going to get any use out of her is by maxing out her dodge, giving her a whole bunch of damage reduction, a whole bunch of survivability or healing-based abilities. About 46,000 damage, about 1.2 million health. Very nice accuracy, even without the augmentation. Really nice dodge. Lady Leo is a fun hero. Serves really no purpose at any point in the game of Castle Clash. The best you're going to get is let's experiment with Lady Leo and try her out. You know, it's like testing a car, like taking a test drive on a car. Okay, that's the best you're going to get. Lady Leo is somebody that you don't need in this game, and you can look past. Our final hero for this stage of the Hero Compendium videos, this is video number 3. Our last hero of today's 12 is going to be Fiend. Fiend does a little bit of damage against the enemy. He heals himself quite nicely and reduces his own damage. He also removes the buffs or the things that make our enemies stronger. He takes that away. The damage that he outputs in the latter half of the game is nothing. Nobody's going to get hurt by Fiend. The damage reduction that he gets in the latter parts of the game is so minimal that he's just going to get killed immediately. The only thing that this guy can do in the final third of the game is remove the buffs or positive statuses of the enemy. So let's keep that in mind. We're trying to make our heroes better at what they do best. That involves identifying not the whole paragraph, but the one or two things, tops, that a hero can do, and putting our options and upgrades and our decision-making process into making that those one or two things even better. So we're looking at the buffing. We got to keep him alive. Offensively, this is as offensive as you're going to get with this man. You got to give him a Sacred Light for the health and the damage reduction. When you're doing that, give him a big 68-36 boost. to damage. You're going to give him 130% extra energy recovery. Now, he does have a cooldown, but extra energy production, that doesn't hurt. But that healing, 130% extra healing, added to his innate healing capability, and a holy conviction for more damage reduction and more healing capability. He will heal like a monster. He'll actually live in today's game. I have a blend. Some dodge. He's an older hero. It's best he stays out of the way of harm. But his ability to remove the buffs, and that's the only thing we're really using him for now. If he doesn't hit the enemy, then that buffing capability, that debuffing that he has, is a moot point. He has to actually hit the enemy in order to remove their buffs. That is why it's mostly accuracy, but the rest should be dodge in order to give him at least the chance to stay alive. I've got the survival running as the second option. If I want him to make it through a very lengthy game mode, I want to be able to have an extra heal paired up with all of these extra healing multipliers. Makes him a healing beast. Something like even running a Sacred Light now with the survival, going to give him the best of all of these builds and opportunities and options, while still giving him a much bigger statistical boost than if we had run survival as the Insignia. Now that we have level 9 talents and level 9 Insignias, we are using now the damage boost and the health boost as one of the factors in making our decision about what to use the talent and what to use as the Insignia. When Insignias could only go to level 8, our decisions were made very quickly and very easily. You'd give the lesser skill or talent as the Insignia. Now there is no lesser. They're both equal. So we have to factor in these bonuses as well. So the damage reduction and the accuracy and the dodge. Grim Fiend, at about 52,000, about 1.16 million health. Nice accuracy, relatively decent dodge. Grim Fiend is a hero that is, I'm going to say, preferred in the first half of the game. If you have a Grim Fiend during the early stages of this game, you'll appreciate him. He does serve his purposes. But once you start moving into the second half of the game, you're going to find that other heroes do a far better job than he does, that he's no longer effective in harming the enemies of today, that he's no longer effective really in any way. So preferred during the beginning of the game, and just a fun hero to play around with towards the end stages of the game. We made it through another 12. We are going to be moving on to video number 4 next, where we will explore the next 12 heroes. We will look at heroes 37 through 48. We are right around getting close to the halfway point in Castle Clash. We are starting to bid farewell to some of the older heroes. We're starting to move into the heroes that have perhaps auto-proc ability or a complex skill description. Starting to move into the heroes that have multiple options in terms of their build, because they do have some level of utility to them. As we move into the next set, you're going to see that their skill descriptions, their options, their builds become even more complex and give us even more of a conundrum when it comes to building the best hero. I appreciate you tuning in, and I will see you very soon on the next in our Hero Compendium series. All right, everybody, happy clashing. Bye-bye.